Those ads, taking my words about small business out of context, they're flat out wrong. Of course Americans build their own businesses. Every day, hardworking people sacrifice to meet a payroll, create jobs, and make our economy run. And what I said was that we need to stand behind them, as America always has.
Now, that was the president in a new ad trying to undo the damage of his ridiculous "you didn't build that" comment. Now his answer is to blame Mitt Romney for taking him out of context. Well, the RNC and American Crossroads decided to put the president back in context in a set of new ads. And by the way, let's just say it doesn't look like Mitt Romney twisted the president's words at all. Let's roll on the American Crossroads ad.
Okay, fans, let's go to the fumble of the week. Barack Obama drops the ball on his own 1-yard line.
If you got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
But Team Obama contests the call.
Actually, he didn't say that.
Twisting my words around, they start kind of splicing and dicing.
Those ads, taking my words about small business out of context.
Watch the tape.
You heard the man. Let's go to the tape.
You didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Oh, nobody else made that happen.
Watch the tape.
You didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Sorry, Mr. President. The tape's pretty clear. You're just out of touch, out of ideas, and you're out of there.
All right, here with a reaction to that ad and much more, pollster, the one and only Frank Luntz. First of all, there's no slicing, no dicing, full context. So that's a pretty desperate move 12 days later.
Well, let's take a look at both ads. When Barack Obama speaks to camera, he does have that level of connection that Republicans are still frustrated with, because they look at him and they say, his record on the deficit, his record on the debt, his record on jobs and the economy. But when he looks straight to camera, it works.
Well, but the president goes on to say that, that our plan worked. If this is what's working, we're really in deep trouble. All right, now the RNC has another ad. Let's roll this and get your professional opinion. Let's roll this.
If you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own. You didn't get there on your own. I'm always struck by people who think, well, it must be because I was just so smart. There are a lot of smart people out there. It must be because I worked harder than everybody else. Let me tell you something. There are a whole bunch of hard-working people out there. If you were successful, somebody along the line gave you some help. There was a great teacher somewhere in your life. Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we had that allowed you to thrive. Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
The Republican National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
All right, now that's it. No slicing, no dicing, in context.
And that's a better ad because it's Barack Obama's words. Sean, in all the testing that we've done, two things matter. Number one, it's got to be an issue that you care about. And for small business owners and people who still believe in the American dream and believe in the idea that you can sacrifice and work hard and struggle and get ahead, that ad appeals to them. But the second thing is, it's Barack Obama's words themselves. And you can't run away from it. You can't edit it. And so that's why that RNC ad is actually one of the best ads I've seen so far this election.
But think about what he's saying here, and it goes into the narrative, I guess, of what his fundamental beliefs are. You didn't build that. Well, okay, maybe God did breathe, life into your soul, and your mother changed your diapers and fed you, mashed peas and carrots. So, of course...
Not my mom.
So that's what the problem is.
I come from a Jewish household, and everything that I was fed, I did not want to eat, and don't laugh at that. What Obama is...
But think about how absurd this is, and he said it, but he believes it. He goes off prompter, and this is what happens.
Yes, but there's one thing that's more powerful than that, and then that's when you ask a small business owner, someone who has struggled, who has sacrificed. It is actually better when it comes from that person themselves saying, Mr. President, you don't understand me, you don't get me, you don't appreciate what I've been through. That would be more effective.
All right, is he going to get away with our plan worked with the economy in its current state? Because that's another new strategy.
It's not going to, no, at 8.2% unemployment at a deficit that's out of control, at a debt that really scares Americans. And we're looking at what's going on with the economy. It's getting worse, Sean, not getting better. In the interviews that I'm doing in places like Ohio and Michigan and North Carolina, Florida, they're more afraid, not less afraid of the future. And they believe that Washington can't necessarily add jobs, but they can stop wasteful Washington spending.
All right, so we saw in the latest poll that the blaming Bush tactic doesn't work. The president's saying that our plan, it worked, and America's coming back, and we fixed the economy, and people respect us. There's a new attitude in America. That's not going to work. Negativity hasn't worked. So what is he left with at this point?
He's left with trying to destroy Mitt Romney, and that's what is so bothersome.
But so far, that hasn't worked.
He's maintained a narrow lead in the latest NBC poll.
Yeah, but that NBC poll skews 11 points Democrat.
But in every survey that's out there, basically Obama's got a 1, maybe 2-point lead in most surveys.
Right, but look at the ABC poll. It skews 9 points. They out-survey Democrats. I mean, Frank, those aren't, you do polls. That is not an honest poll. That's not even based on the 2008 model.
But the fact is more people do identify themselves today as Democrats than they do Republicans.
40% of the country is conservative, 20% is liberal.
We don't disagree on that. But I think we would agree that it's a dead heat and that the only way that Barack Obama sees a path to the election is by destroying Mitt Romney. And therefore, it is up to Mitt Romney and his campaign to speak up, to fight back, to be specific, to draw the contrasts, and not just sit back and be a punching bag.
Good to see you, Frank.
By the way, if you want to do one of these focus groups,
whether you yell at the people
on Fox News, all you have to do is go to lunchglobal.com.
And then you yell at them.
And then they get paid.
And then you yell at them.
And then they get a chance to have their voices heard, because it's not just you report, we decide. It's actually your voice, and then the American people decide.
I'm just kidding you, of course. All right, although you do yell a little bit.